Alright, welcome to 8.2, solving proportions. We just did identifying if it is a proportion or not, so making sure that they're equal. Now we're going to find a missing part to make sure that they are equal. And then we have similar figures and scale drawings next, which involves lots of proportions. So, first thing we're going to be able to do is solve for an unknown to create a proportion, solve for an unknown in a real-world problem, or real-world proportion, and explain the process, okay? Ignore these marks. I just tried it and I did it wrong. So we're going to try again. It says there is a ratio of 5 peanuts to 8 cashews in a snack mix. So peanuts and cashews. I have 5 peanuts to 8 cashews. If the bag has 96 cashews, how many peanuts are there? So what we did in our last chapter is here I would add 5 and here I would add 8. So 5 plus 5 is 10. 8 plus 8 is 16. So then I would do that again. So plus 5, I get 15, plus 8, I get 24. Okay, but if you notice, that's going to take us a long time. And some of you realize that with the problem with Hamdi and Hawa and the Snapchats. Okay, you had lots of work you had to do. So what I'm going to think here is 5 times what is 15? Well, 5 times 3. And that works here. 8 times 3 is 24. So now I'm thinking the same thing. I want to get all the way to 96. So I'm going to think 8 times what is 96. I can use division, so I'm going to do that really quick. So I'm going to do 96 divided by 8. That's 12, so I can multiply by 12, which means here I would multiply by 12. So 5 times 12 would be 60. Okay. So there's going to be 60 peanuts when there is 96 cashews. Okay, so here we go. Number 1 says, write and solve the following proportions. A school is running a fundraiser. For every $75 worth of wrapping paper sold, the school receives $20. How much wrapping paper must be sold to reach their goal of $2,500? Okay. So we're going to determine the ratio that we're comparing. Now we're comparing dollars, so I don't want to put just dollars over dollars. Okay, I'm going to put the sold over the amount received. Now what's really important is we want the unknown to be in the numerator. So we're going to set this up. So sold. So I know for $75 sold, I get $20 back. And I'm going to say equals, and I want to know how much wrapping paper must be sold to reach the goal of $2,500, and that would be received. So that goes in our next one, $2,500. We don't know how much we'd have to sell, so that's going to be our X or our unknown. You could come up with any number there you wanted to. So now I'm going to solve this. So to solve this, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2,500. If I do it to one side, I do it to the other side. Because to undo dividing, we multiply. Okay, so now my calculator, I'm going to do 75 divided by 20, because that's what I'm starting is with that. Okay, then times 2,500. And that gives me 9,375. So 9,375 equals, and over here I'm left with X. And this was talking about money, so I'm going to put a dollar sign there, and that's my final answer. Okay, next one. It says, write and solve the following proportion. The wait time to ride a roller coaster when there are 160 people in line is 20 minutes. At this rate, what will the wait time be when there are 220 people in line? So I'm comparing people and wait time. Okay, so people, I know that there's 160 people over 20 minutes equals, at this rate there will be wait time when there are 220. Now 220 is people, that was on the top, so that has to go on top here, 220 over our unknown. Let's call it y this time. Okay, but we always want the unknown to be in the numerator. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch this around. We're going to do wait time over people, which just means this was a per people and this was wait time, so I just switch it. So it's going to be 20 over 160. And this one, it was people over wait time, I just switch it. So y over 220. Okay, now I solve. So to undo dividing, the opposite of dividing would be to multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 220. Okay, so on my calculator, what I'm going to type in is 20 divided by 160, because that's a fraction, and then times 220. And I get 27 5/10, which is 27 1/2, really. So 27 5/10 would be y. And we're talking about minutes here. So in those word problems, you have to make sure that we label. Okay, we got 2 more on the back. These ones are not word problems. These ones are just regular math. Okay, so solve for v by undoing the division. And to undo the division here, we would multiply both sides by 9. So I multiply this by 9, multiply this by 9. So I get v equals, so again in my calculator I'm going to just type in 5 divided by 3 like it's a fraction, and then times 9. Okay, and I get 15. So v is 15. Okay, and then this proportion, we want the unknown to be in the numerator. I'm going to box that. Maybe like put like these super important dashes. This part's really important. Huge, okay? So we're going to use the reciprocals. Remember, reciprocals means to switch it upside down when it's improper, okay? So I'm going to switch this. So I'm going to put p on top, 4 on bottom. And I'm going to switch this one. So 3 on top, 5 on bottom. Okay, now we can solve for p. So now I would draw my line. I have to undo dividing by 4. So I'm going to multiply by 4. If I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. This would be left over with just p equals. Now my calculator, I'm going to do 3/5. So 3 divided by 5 times 4. 3 divided by 5 times 4, and I get 2 4/10. And that's okay that it's a decimal. Okay, so when solving a proportion, we want the unknown to be in the numerator. Then we can solve for the unknown. And that is it. All right.